Smoke drifted up from the grill, sharp and acrid, blending with the sound of his laughter. He glanced at me over the rim of his beer, face flushed, eyes glinting with a cruelty he mistook for humor. "You're old enough. Pay rent or get out." The table erupted. My uncles slapped their knees. My cousins sneered. My mother sipped her wine in silence. I didn't laugh. I never did. His jokes always had the same punchline me. I just looked back at him, blank, unshaken. And in that stillness, I made my choice. It hadn't always been like this. As a child, I mistook his roughness for affection, his silence for strength, his criticism for lessons. I wanted his approval more desperately than air. I studied hard, picked up extra shifts after school, and handed over every paycheck. For groceries, I'd say. For the bills. He never thanked me, never even acknowledged it. Instead, he drank. He laughed. He bragged about building the house brick by brick, leaving out that the lights stayed on because of me, that the mortgage survived because of me. Year after year, I bore the burden he claimed as his. Until that barbecue. Until he said it, "Pay rent or get out." He thought it was a joke. But I wasn't joking. Before dawn the next morning, I packed. Quietly, quickly. Everything I needed fit into 2 suitcases. At breakfast, I left my keys on the counter. No slam doors, no dramatic goodbye. By midday, I was unlocking the front door of my own home, bought outright with the savings he never knew I had. While he mocked, I was planning. While he drank, I was building. By evening, I was standing in their living room again. This time not as a dependent child, but as their creditor. He was sunk into his recliner, beer balanced on his stomach, the TV buzzing softly. She was at the table, flipping through stacks of unopened mail, bills waiting for me. They didn't look up until I spoke. "I moved out today." He chuckled. "What?" Finally grew a spine. I placed a folder on the table, utility accounts, mortgage papers, every bill I had covered for 6 years, all in my name. My voice was steady cold. "I'll be stopping all payments. Starting now." Their faces drained. It wasn't just rent. It wasn't just groceries. I had put every account in my name to protect them when their credit collapsed. The water, the gas, the electricity, even the house refinanced on my paycheck. Without me, they had nothing but overdue balances and a mountain of debt. For years, they mocked me while I carried their burden. With one decision, I set it all down. The room went heavy with silence. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. My mother's hand shook as she shuffled through the papers, her voice breaking. "You can't just." "I can." And I did. I leaned close enough for him to smell the freedom on my breath. "You told me to pay rent or get out." "I paid. I got out. Now you can figure out how to keep the lights on without me." That night, I slept in my own house. The air smelled different, clean, free of resentment. My phone buzzed until sunrise with missed calls. I ignored them. In the weeks that followed, their fortress began to crumble. Utilities shut off. Late notices piled at their door. The neighbors started to talk. The same man who once called me weak was now begging for grace, red-faced at the bank, embarrassed at the store when his card was declined. I didn't need to witness it. Word travels quickly. Do you know what revenge tastes like? It isn't fire. It isn't fury. It's silence. It's the strength of walking away and letting them collapse under the weight they once forced you to bear. Months later, I drove past the old house. The lawn was wild, curtains shut tight, a foreclosure notice plastered to the door. He sat slumped on the porch, thinner, a cigarette burning low in his hand. He looked smaller, fragile, breakable. And for the first time in my life, I felt nothing. Not a trace of longing for his approval. Not an ache for his love. Just nothing, and nothing is the sharpest weapon of all. At that barbecue, he thought his words cut me down. Instead, they released me. He believed his laughter would linger as the last word. But it was the silence I left behind that finished the story. Because when I walked out, I didn't just leave the house. I left them powerless. And they will never recover.